All right, and welcome and thank you for everyone for being here. We are talking today about attracting more customers and the secret weapon to standing out from your competition. I first want to thank Paul. I'm greatly appreciative for these educational hours, and you've been able to set aside a lot of time for this. I actually have to admit something to all of you. When Paul said this could be a three-part series, I thought he was nuts. I thought, what that's a lot of series. That's like 3 hours of talking about this. But as usual, I was right. We have so much to cover on this topic that I actually ran over on the first hour. So we all live and die by our reputation. And right now, that reputation starts online. So it's omni important to all of us. Everyone's busy running their businesses, and it's so hard to find the time to manage your own online reputation. Today, we're going to show you how Google Business Profiles and review management are your online reputation. They are your secret weapon to stand out from your competition because your online reputation is your reputation. So let's jump right into it. So, like I said, and I think Paul, you had introduced it as well. This is part three of a three-part series. So, in case you missed it, just to let you know what we looked at, we went over Google Business Profiles for an hour, reputation and review management, and now we're kind of pulling it all together. So obviously, I can't squeeze 2 hours into this 1 hour, so we're going to give you the highlights. But I'm really thankful and appreciative that we get an hour to dive in on this because it gives us a lot of time to actually pull it apart. So what are we talking about today? So we're talking about using Google Business Profiles and reviews to get more customers. We're going to talk about what you need to know, what you need to do, the three biggest mistakes so that you can avoid them. We're going to talk about a little bit of a bonus. Google Maps has some breaking news for the beta testing, so we're going to give you that. And then we're just going to bring it all home with how to use the review management easy button. So that's it in a nutshell. So, who am I and why am I talking to you about this? Paul went into that a little bit, so I'm not going to spend, an inordinate amount of time here. I want to get into the detail to give it to you. I usually tell people I've been there and I've done that, and now I'm committed to helping business owners. Um, Not surprisingly, they're like, use more words, tell me a little bit more, right? So I'm Donna O'Leary. I'm from Bold Endeavors. I left the corporate world, as Paul said. I was a chief information officer or CIO. That's just a fancy term for saying that I managed huge statewide technology operations. My firm now provides a wealth of advanced digital marketing services, but as a certified review lead partner, I realized that many business owners need to get their marketing foundation in order. And that means Google Business Profiles and review management is the best place to start because everybody running a small business needs to increase their customer activity. Everybody, but zero, nobody has time to deal with it, at least not consistently. So today, at Paul's request, I'm able to help you and share this information. Now, I'm not going to read the rest of the slide to you. I've had a bunch of experience as an executive C-level manager. I've got a strong background in project management, depth of knowledge in a number of different things. And as a certified partner and review lead, which Paul mentioned, that's not a software, that's a done for you service. I have a wealth of knowledge around business profiles from Google and review management. Both of these are crucial to business owners that want to increase their customer activity. And who among us doesn't want to increase our customer activity? That's why we're all here. So let's dive in. What to know? So I'm going to start with a little bit of context. And I just mention this because so many of us old timers that have been doing this for a while are really used to the old name, and you might still hear this bandied about. Back in 2014, Google Business Profiles were actually called Google My Business, and the abbreviation was GMB. I still have files called GMB all over the place. I have extensions and apps that say this. But over the years, there were a lot of like add-ons from Google, and it wasn't really unified. You had to use a standalone app. It was a little clunky. So in November of 2021, people are going to tell you that there was a name change. Well, the new name, they're right about that, is Google Business Profile. And you see that on the slide. But it's so much more than a name. It now better integrates with Google Search and Google Maps. You're able to manage everything on your phone, on the go. There's no separate app that you need. So it's just a lot better. It's so much more than just a name change. So just keep that in mind. So Google Business Profiles are free. And this is like free, not like free in a hook. This is really free. This is what a Google Business Profile looks like. You can see it right on the slide here. This is the one that actually Google promotes, and you'll see this in some future slides. Google has your customers. So this is where we start. So if you or a colleague or friend or family member or anybody you know or love has a business and they do not have a Google Business Profile, please make sure they run, do not walk, and get one as soon as possible. And we're going to show you in a few slides exactly why. They are free. There are a number of services like mine that will help you with it. And you can do it yourself. Just do it. We're going to cover in a little bit more detail what to do in a moment. But the one thing that I always remind people, one of my favorite proverbs is the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The second best time is now. So this is your memo. This is your now. If you don't have one of these, this is time to get one. And I'll get into the actively managing it in a minute too. So you never get a second chance to make a good first impression. What you need to know here is why you have a Google Business Profile. It's important. It's important because of first impressions. With first impressions, some things never change. This old adage is as true now as it ever was. But let's unpack it a little bit as it relates to your online presence today. So you can see this slide. I'm not going to read all of it to you. The important things to notice here are some things never changed, like we just said, but it's important to know that some things do change, right? And what has changed? What has changed is time, literally, not just time that's passed, but now everybody wants everything fast, fast, and faster. Social media now, we can only withstand what, 30 or 60-second clips now. Too long didn't read is now an acronym because it's so darn popular. And how often do you hear anyone say, I don't have time to, and then insert the blank? It's a regular thing that you hear. And I realized that things changed a while back when I was at a party. I was at a party, you know how you are, everybody like gathers in the kitchen kind of thing. And somebody said, hey, I need a plumber. I need a referral to a plumber. Thankfully, they didn't need him at the party, but they needed him at home and they wanted a good referral. Somebody else said, oh, sure, I got a guy. I got you covered. Call Joe the plumber. He'll take care of you. A person said, great. Normally, that would be the end of it. Well, not in this case. Person pulls out their cell phone from their back pocket. They start looking down. They're looking at things. Next thing you know, their face kind of changes and they look up and they go, huh, I don't think so. Does anybody else have another plumber? What do you think they were looking at? They were looking at Google. They were Googling the guy and they didn't like what they saw, right? So right then and there, not first of all, I was just flabbergasted, right? I like in real time realized that gone are the days that personal referrals were king. That's just not king anymore, right? Reviews made all the difference. The person looking for the plumber saw the profile before they saw Joe's website, and they made a buying decision that they didn't need hours of research to do. What changed was time. And in an instant, that first impression was made and a decision was made. And it didn't require a lot of research. It only required what you see in this now column. It required a Google Business Profile and reviews. And a business decision was made just like that in front of my eyes. Everything changed. And we need to know this so that we can leverage all of this in our favor, because that's what we want to do. So this is the Merriam-Webster dictionary. Um, this is the definition of reputation. What we need to take away here is that your first impression is huge. It happens online before we ever see the person, right? And we don't get to determine what our reputation is. Other people do. So you see here that it's judged by people and that other people. That's why reviews are so important. It's other people that are writing the reviews. So that's what we need to concentrate on. So this is how your business makes a first impression. Now, I'm a little biased here. This is literally a screenshot from the back of my business card. I feel that strongly about this because it's so important. It's a takeoff of a famous Bob Burg quote. You've probably heard it, that I don't know the exact quote, but it goes along the ways that, someone needs to know, like, and trust you in order to do business with you, right? There's a longer story that goes with that. But I've updated this for today's online reality. And like I said, this is literally what's displayed on my business card. So today, customers still need to know you, but today that means that they need to find you online. And you don't need to make them find you. They've got the entire internet in their back pocket, as that last story just demonstrated, right? Customers still need to like you. So today that means they need a detailed profile so that when they look you up, they can actually learn why they should like you. That means we have to craft a compelling business description on your Google business profile, right? And customers still need to trust you. That means that they need to see and read great reviews. They need to see what other people say. Just like we said, other people are deciding your reputation. Other people are writing your reviews. That's what they want to see, these independent third parties. That's how you establish credibility. And this is your reputation. This is where things have changed, and it's important that we recognize it and then leverage it. Um, your reputation is online, and we need to make the most of it with your reviews, because it's one thing when we say how great we are. That's awesome, but it's totally different when somebody else says it. That's when people truly trust you, and that's where you get the power of reviews. So we talked about first impressions and how huge they are, and how it happens online. It happens before you ever even see the person. Um, but one of the things that kind of nags at me a little bit is usually people that are not business owners are usually the ones that I hear say it, but they say, oh, it's just online. But when it's your reputation and it's people's first impression of you, when it impacts your wallet, it's not just online anymore. That's your bottom line. And that's why we have to pay attention to it. So, what to do? This is a pretty packed slide. I'm going to go through it step by step, right? So, first, you have to get a Google business profile. I know a lot of people that have them. One person I spoke to recently, I asked them when they got their profile, and it was 6 years ago. I asked them when the last time they touched it or managed it, and they said 6 years ago. So the next thing you need to do is actively manage your business profile consistently. You then need to get and manage the reviews that are applied to that profile consistently. Then you're able to enjoy the benefits of your online reputation, both online and real life, because those are two things that are combined. The trick here is that you need to do all of those things consistently. A lot of people kind of stop and start, and it shows, and it's not always helpful. A consistent approach is how you win with Google and how you maintain a great reputation. So that's really what you want to concentrate on. Now, the other thing that I think is really important to keep in mind is that business owners like ourselves sometimes think of your business profile that they're looking at on Google as somehow separate from our business. But for a customer, when they're looking us up and they've got their phone in front of them, Your business profile is not an extension of your business. That is your business, according to your customer. So it's important that you manage both as your business, because gone are the days that we could see them as separate. So a couple of slides on Google business profiles, and I'm going to go through these quick because, like I said, we spent a whole hour on this topic previously, and I can't possibly fit that all into this presentation. So first things first, we have to have a well-managed Google business profile, and we need to get 5-star reviews. Now, if you are a customer service, if you're customer service oriented, and most businesses are, this really isn't a challenge, but you do need a systematic way to approach managing your reviews and your profile consistently. There's companies like mine that'll help you navigate this if it's unknown territory. You need to get and manage a profile and manage your reviews. You do it by yourself. You can buy software and figure that out. You can use it yourself. You can use a done for you service like mine. It really depends on how much time you have and how much effort you want to put into it. I'll tell you right off, I give away all the secrets in sessions like this. You can do it for yourself if you want, and go out to my social media. Now, it might be in 30 and 60-second clips like social media likes, but I'm spilling all the tea, and you can get all of the information out there. Feel free to steal like an artist and DIY it if that's what you like. I totally encourage it. But the two complaints that I hear most often is I don't have time to deal with this. That's why my service exists. And I ask, but no one leaves a review. And we'll get into that in a little bit. Our service solves both of these issues. And I encourage you to act as if you have a system, even if you don't. So create a system for yourself, because the system for managing and soliciting reviews is where it's at. And it's a phenomenal way to boost your reputation. So getting through this, how I get a Google business profile. Now, Paul, this is where you could put that business.google.com link in the chat, if you'd be so kind. So you need to follow the prompts that Google provides. I highly recommend you go out to resources and FAQs, read through the instructions before starting if you're going to do it on your own. Now, I have a whole service that addresses this. We're not going to be able to go in that kind of depth, but we are giving you the highlights, right? So the one thing that I want you to be really, really careful of is information on the web can be dated. Worse than that, sometimes people don't even put dates on some of the stuff. I would not trust something that doesn't have a date on it, right? So if you're not sure of when it is, you should really be wary, and you should really be getting the information from the source, which is Google. If you follow the prompts, you go through this from start to finish is exactly what you need to do to get a Google business profile if you don't have one already, and every local business should have one. You visit that link that Paul was so kind enough to give us. You need a Google account. It should be the Google account you want associated with that profile, because that's important. You enter your business name, and then you just follow the prompts that Google provides. They're trying to make it as easy as possible. You fill out all the details, you complete verification. This is where I get a lot of questions, and people are like, do I need to give all this information to Google, and why, and blah, blah, blah. Yes, you do, because we want to encourage Google to do this because they're keeping scammers from having business profiles. So I will readily give them this information. And then you wait for that verification. Now, there's a lot of information. I don't want to say it's wrong, but there's a lot of information that may not be completely correct, put it that way. That there's all sorts of different verification types. You know, you can do a phone or a text or an email. I don't want to say 100%, but most people that I've been talking to, they all have to do a video verification. Even if it said they got a text and they were approved, they still ended up having to do a video verification. So you have to get all the verification details, and then you have to do a Google video. Okay. You will also see things online that'll say, oh, you can do a video that'll be 5 minutes. Please don't do the whole 5 minutes. Most of the people that I've seen approved most readily have done a video that's under 2 minutes. That usually means you have to practice it a couple times to get it down to 2 minutes. You know, that's easy enough to do though. So that's in a nutshell what you need to do to get your business profile. So let's move on to reviews. What makes a good reputation? What do we have to do there? So it's important that we do this. It's also important that we understand the opposite of this is what sends people to our competition. So what you need to do is break down what your reputation is. So what your reputation is made up of is your star rating, your number of reviews, frequency of your reviews, the age of reviews, how responsive you are, how quick did you reply, how quickly did you reply, and then just the general sentiment of the profile and the reviews. All together, this is what makes your reputation. So a couple of key points that you want to keep in mind. People want to see more than just your star rating and your reviews. Now, are there some people that are going to be off to the races when they see the star rating and reviews? Absolutely. For some people, that's going to be enough. But for the rest of us, they want to see the total package and they're going to do a little bit more fact finding. It might still be quick, but they still want to look at some of those other attributes. So people are also wary of old reviews, and they don't have to be that old. Like I've read a number of different studies, and some people say that that reviews older than 3 months people disregard now. They're just not really thinking that they're valid. Now, think about that. If you're looking at a review that's a year old, is the same owner there or the same staff there? Are you going to have the same experience? Compare that to a really good review that you got like a week ago or 2 weeks ago. That more current one, people are going to attribute more value to. That's why we have to keep getting more reviews. And people really want to see replies to your reviews. And I'm going to get into that in a couple of minutes as well. But it's important that we take a look at all of that. Um, and it's also important that we know most people, when you ask them and you provide them an easy way for them to do it, they will leave you a review. You just have to have a system and an approach that makes it really, really simple for them. And you can review the quotes here. There's a lot that goes into reviews, and it's important that we understand what we're doing and how we're doing it so that we're giving that customer that know, like, and trust you feeling. You have to always look at your reviews in general and make sure that that's what the customer's leaving with. So this is a contextual information on what to do. This is kind of background information. I get a lot of questions from people on like, well, why Google? Can I live without them? And can you tell me how to work around them? And what's the tricks? And there are no tricks, right? And well, no. Can you live without Google? No. It's simple math, right? Look at the size of that blue circle. That entire circle is 100%. The blue represents how much Google represents in the search engine market globally. It's over 90%. Google has your customers, and it's important that we realize it and we work with them. It's a lot easier to work with them than it is to try to work against them. And the one stat that I always use for people to give them just something that they can latch onto so that they understand the sheer volume that we're looking at, there are 5.9 million Google searches per minute that happen. That's a lot of searches. That's why you want to work with them. It's a lot easier to go with that than it is to try to swim upstream, right? So, okay. So what should I do? First of all, you need to put a system in place to ask for reviews. You can use a done for you system like me, but I already told you there's other ways to do it. You can do it for yourself. Just do it. Leaving it alone anymore is no longer an option for any local business that wants customers, that wants to keep them or wants to attract them or wants to do both. It's important to have a system that addresses your reviews. And then we're looking at why. It's because you need to play by Google's rules. It's that whole swimming with the stream and not swimming upstream, right? Google gives you customers. And right now, Google has those customers. So you need to play by their rules, right? Google has really changed the game for local businesses, but you can't play a game if you don't understand the rules. And you certainly can't win a game if you don't know the rules. And we want to see you win at business. And the rich thing is here, Google wants to see you win. It benefits them in their business model, right? So they'll actually help you as long as you know the rules. So I'm here to help you navigate and let you know the rules so that you can win. So a couple of those ways and rules that you need to know is that mobile searches have increased 200% in the past 2 years. That's a huge number. And you need to know this because you need to know how your customers are using search to find you. So, say you're an insurance agent, that means searches like insurance agents near me or where to buy insurance have increased 200%. That's a lot more searches. And it's important that you know that's how your customers are looking for you. It's also important on how you're going to manage your reviews to know that when people use the word best, that's actually a filter word. So when they put best insurance agent in a search, it's going to filter out every insurance agent that has a rating below 4.0. You think about it, it makes sense. If you're below a 4.0 rating, you're not the best. So why would Google show you, right? So what you need to do in that case is you need to collect reviews and maintain a star rating that's 4.0 or higher, or you're not even going to show up. So it's important to know this. I get a lot of questions at this point. Well, is that fair? And, should Google do that? You have to remember what Google's business model is. They want to give their customers the best experience they have. We're just along for the ride. And it's a free ride, but we can make a lot of money at it if we play our cards right. So let's get into the three biggest mistakes. So these are the three biggest mistakes. These are writer downers. Like these, you just have to avoid at all costs. Mistakes happen, but they cost you money when it comes to reviews. So avoid them at all costs, literally or pun intended, however you want to say that, but just avoid these mistakes. So, like I said, people tell me all the time, well, I ask for a review, but nobody leaves one. It usually goes something like this. Customer says, hey, business owner, thank you so much. I love your X, whatever X is. You're awesome. Business owner says, oh, that's fabulous. Thank you so much. Would you leave us a review? The customer says, absolutely. I would love to. The customer walks out, gets in the car, pulls out their phone, goes to leave the review, realizes they don't know how to do it or where to go. The phone rings. That is the last time they have thought about you. And they're off to something else. They want to leave you a review. Life just got in the way. You need a system to make sure that person has an easy time to leave you a review. It's pretty much why my service exists in a nutshell. We send multiple emails and texts. We have in-person QR codes for scanning. There's a review page that we call negative capture. So if they have a negative comment, they actually send you an email and they don't leave a review. They have that option anyway. These are all things that you should have in your systematic approach to collecting positive reviews. Because if you don't make it dead simple for people, they're just not going to do it. They're going to be that person in the car and they're on to the next thing. And they're not going to think about it until they see you again. On not responding to reviews, you simply must respond to reviews. There is no other option. People have literally taken time out of their busy day to leave a review of their experience, whether it's negative or positive. You owe that person a response. They want to have that experience validated, and we need to respond. I personally have written a whole book on replying to reviews because it's more of an art than a science. And some software systems actually use artificial intelligence to respond. I don't usually recommend this. First, it disconnects the business from the customer, and it also will not have the customer experience knowledge that someone at your business will have. And this is your reputation. You don't really want to play around with it, right? It should be actively managed by someone you trust at your business. For some of us solo entrepreneurs, it's the business owner. For other people, it's somebody that you really trust and understands the impact of your reputation. Next, we have not reusing positive reviews. All your reviews are gems, and we should be actively responding to these. Then we should be reusing them. It's great to have reviews on Google. It's awesome. We've just talked for how many minutes about what you need to do to get them and how important it is. But now you've got them. Don't just let them sit there. Let's take them out for a walk and show them off, right? Someone other than you is saying great things about you. And it's not your mom, and it's not somebody that you paid. These are independent third parties that are saying great things about you. These are just gold. You should definitely be treating these as such, and you should be definitely reusing them. So let's go through each of these real quick. So the systematic approach, right? We need to solicit and manage reviews, because in order to reply to all of the reviews, you need to get reviews, and you need to know you have a review, and you need to know on a timely basis, right? So you have to be actively monitoring your review sites. So we went over that people need to know, like, and trust you. We know this. They're trusting you based on those reviews. This means the person leaving a review wants to see a reply. But what we also have to realize is that also means that in order to establish trust and credibility, the people that are shopping want to see that reply. So if Paul leaves me a review, I want to respond to him, not just because I want to validate Paul's experience, but because somebody that's shopping that doesn't know me or Paul wants to know that I responded to Paul. So you really have to think through that. People want to see that you're committed to customer satisfaction. So just reviewing the slide, your all reviews have to be responded to promptly, whether they're negative or positive. We got a lot of people that like to cherry pick just the positive ones. No. Can't do that. Got to respond to all of them. It also, depending on which study you're looking at and where your standing is, because it depends person to person, but it takes 12 to 40 positive reviews to overcome one negative review. That's why you have to keep these going. Nobody's going to be perfect. You're going to get negative reviews from time to time. That's okay. You just have to keep the positive ones coming in. Nobody expects perfection, but they do expect you to respond, and they do expect to see positivity. So the more positive you get, the better off you are. So a little bit more on the mistake of not replying. I want to show you how to reply. So this is a reply that was on an account, excuse me, this was a review that was on a specific review, right? So this person reviewed this establishment, and then the owner comes through. All you have to do is click this little reply button. You're going to get a pop-up, and you have up to 4,000 characters to reply to the person. Refer to earlier statement, too long, don't read. Do not use 4,000 characters. Be brief, concise, but customize that to the person's reply. Okay. And then you just hit enter, and then it'll show response from owner. And then the person is validated, and you've done a great job and responded to that review. So following more on some of the top mistakes, not reusing reviews. Like I said, these are not reviews from your mom. These are actually independent third parties, and they're telling other people how great you are. Why not shout it from the rooftops, right? Think about how these people are your wingmen. You have to reuse them. Your Google business profile, when you think about that, that's your 24/7, 365 salesperson. It's going to say exactly what you want it to say because you wrote it, exactly how you want to say it because you wrote it, and it's free of charge, and it works 24/7, 365. That's a pretty powerful salesman for you, right? But then you add reviews to that, and you're really adding fuel to the fire, right? So when you think of that, I want you to think of your profile as your digital office or your digital showroom. If you could surround all those prospective customers with raving fans telling great stories about you and your products and your services and why they chose to do business with you, why would you not do that? Um, just like that digital salesperson that I just talked about, these raving fans are going to surround prospective customers 24/7, 365. They're never going to sleep. They're always going to be telling how great you are, and this is not you talking, and it's not your salesperson. It's not your mom. This is an independent third party talking about how great you are. Now, I've told this story before. This actually happened to me once. This is what it's like to have reviews. I was out shoe shopping once, right? And I had a pair of sneakers in my hand, and some random woman comes up. She actually kind of surprised me. And I looked and she goes, "Oh my God, yes, you totally need to buy those. Those are the coolest sneakers. They're so comfortable. I have them in blue. You should totally, totally buy them." Now, am I more apt to buy them than I was a minute ago or less apt to buy them? Hint, I totally bought those sneakers and she was totally right because they were super, super comfortable, right? Um, these are the type of people that you're going to have reviews on. Like they're willing, they want to tell this, they want to tell your story, and you get to have that for other people to see and read. This is the power of well-managed reviews. The caveat is, why leave that just on the review site? Why not reuse that? Right? And that's one of the biggest mistakes people meet. It's great. You went through a lot of trouble to get that review. Let's take it out for a walk. And I'm going to show you how you can do that in a fancy way. And that works fabulous. And I wholeheartedly agree. I do that for a living. Absolutely. I think it's a great idea. But you don't have to get fancy. If you don't have time for fancy, um, do something like this. Look at Mountain View Cafe and Bakery. All they did is copy and pasted the review into their Facebook site. You don't have to get fancy if you don't have the time to do it. Just do it. So, speaking of fancy, this is some of the fancier ways to do that. And I just wanted to show you a couple of those. Um, this green example, I usually like to pull examples from myself because I have permission to use those, right? So this is one that I did, but a lot of people do this. What they'll do is they'll pick one or two different templates, and this is branded for my colors and my statement. And then you just reuse this over and over again. And you can use it on your social media, you can use it on your website, you can use it on your Google profile, you can use it all over the place. Um, and all you need to do when you get a new person's review is you change their picture, you change the quote, you change the name. The rest of it all stays the same. So the template is great. And you have a custom template that works. It's really awesome when somebody says something great about you. Don't bury it, show it off. Um, and remember that not everybody is on all forms of social media. So put it across all of your channels. So use it, reuse it again, right? And I have a lot of people that they'll do like 100 days and then they'll start the 100 days over again. So then they reuse them again. Once you go through the trouble of getting good reviews, don't just let them sit on Google. It's awesome to have them there, and that's, part of what we're all talking about, but reuse them. Also, services like mine and other places will provide a snippet of code. So that's something that you can put on your website and you can actually get a review stream like this that you can use. Or this is actually what they call a carousel. And if this was animated, this would change and it would show like, Anne and then John and Tom, and it would show all the reviews and cycle through those in a carousel. I'm sure you've seen that on some of the reviews as well. So a couple more things that we're going to go through. So, what we need to know about Google Maps. They got some breaking news. This is definitely going to impact you. So, I want to make sure we really get into this because you need to know this. So, right now, we know it's a no-brainer that your Google business profile, it should be complete, it should be compelling, it should be current. Absolutely. Our reviews, we should have all the things. We should have the star rating. We should have a good number of reviews. It should be frequent. They should be current, and you should have older ones. So the age should be appropriate. Responsiveness, all the things that we went over in the previous slides, right? They're all important. This is just one more reason why it's so important, because now Google Maps is turning into a search engine. just like Google.com. That didn't used to be the case. But right now, there's a beta test out for local guides. Like I'm a local guide. I do a lot of reviews for Google. I actually get emails from them saying, oh, this review was viewed 5,000 times, yada, yada. And they tell you how helpful you've been. So once you get people that are leaving reviews, they're encouraging people to leave more reviews. So it's important that you know that. But local guides like myself, we're actually beta testing this service for Google, right? So what this means is Google is actually testing out artificial intelligence to go through this, and this is what they're actually going to find. So instead of just doing a search and getting results, they're going to use artificial intelligence and they're going to return what they have. What do they have? They have 300 million community members that are providing feedback on reviews. So this is what they're going to actually provide. So you've got your rating, your number, this is literally what comes up on Maps now. So you see the actual review and you see when the review was left. This is actually from Google's blog. This is exactly what's going to come up. Now, you don't see this yet. And I've got a video on my site. I don't know if I put that link in the chat or not, Paul, but there is a link that I can get to everybody that actually has a video that shows this as well. But this is actually coming. I'll give you one more look at it. So this is another one pager that I did just describing it. The take home message here that you've already probably figured out, Google Maps is leveraging data that they have, and what they have is reviews and profiles. So if you do not have a review and you don't have a profile, this is a sad time for you because you're not going to come up at all. So that's really important information for you to know. So just looping through on the final aspects, easy button for review management. This breaks down what your choices are to manage your Google Business Profile and your reviews. So this goes from your choices, your effort, and your time. It goes from most effort to least effort. Obviously, doesn't take a brain surgeon to know that easy is the easiest and the less time. I'm going to just quickly go over in the next 2 minutes everything you need to know. So this is what my Done For You service does. But if you're going to do this yourself, this is what you need to do. So this is what you need to pay attention to. First of all, you need a system to solicit and collect positive reviews. You should have a custom email drip campaign that you're emailing people and you're making it easy for them. You should have a graphical email signature that they can click on and then go and leave a review. You should have printed pieces that they can go and leave a review. You should have a website button that they click on and they go and leave a review. You have to have this type of repetition in order to get enough reviews. And then I showed you what the review stream or the carousel looks like. And if you have a service, that actually is updated automatically. If you're doing it yourself, you just have to make sure that you take the time to update it yourself. So the most important thing, you have to make it super, super easy or people are not going to do it. You need to provide a thumbs up. Well, what we do is we provide like a thumbs up and thumbs down kind of thing. And when we ask them to leave the review, they get a big old button. They just have to press on it. And then they go right to the actual site to leave the review. We also capture negative reviews. So that would be something you'd want to consider if that works for you. That they always have the option to leave a negative review if they want to. We can't go against terms of service, but we do provide an option for them to just fill out a contact form and reach out to you if they've had a bad experience. You should also have an alert of notifications of reviews. You need to know the reviews there. If you're going to have a timely response, you need to know it's there in order to get to it, right? And then you need some reply coaching. I actually wrote a book on replies. You need some type of coaching on how to actually reply to your people so that you're doing it in a really good way. And then you need to monitor third-party sites. And one of our previous items, I went over like the knot.com. If you're into weddings, if you're like a wedding planner or photographer, you need to monitor that site if you're in that specific industry. So this was a lot, I know. This is just the highlights, because remember, we spent 2 hours going through all of this previously. There's a lot to cover. And I'm going to leave the last couple of minutes for questions, if anybody has any questions. So Paul, thank you very, very much. This is an amazing educational series. I know this is a lot to cram into one thing. So I know we went through fast. If people have questions, I want to be able to answer them, and please feel free to reach out, folks. This is your hint to stop the recording so that people can ask specific questions.
You are so good with the hint.